Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
This guy is 24/7, 365. Cooper Mays joins us now. We've been doing this since the end of spring practice, and now it's the first day of fall camp. Exciting. Be sure and hit subscribe. Be sure and like so we can bring you more Tennessee and SEC content. Cooper Mays brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. It's about integrity. I'll tell you more momentarily. cityheatandair.com. Coop, fresh off the first day of practice, and you got a smile on your face. Some guys don't want to get started. They aren't ready, but you've been eager, and the first day went well. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt a lot stronger than I usually do. So I guess probably the off season probably served me pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good right now. So I don't know. I had a good day right now. I can't complain. I'm in a pretty good headspace right now.
Nice. So when in what areas of practice did you feel stronger?
We were in team periods and just, I don't know. I mean, there's just like a certain time when you kind of get more mature. Like I felt it kind of my junior year in high school too. Like you can just feel where you kind of get to the level. So just kind of just fitting up on guys today and putting hands on kind of just, I don't know. It felt a lot easier than normal.
Well, I did want to ask you about a couple of the transfers, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and one in particular that I think Tennessee fans wondered about coming in because he had transferred and there was a bit of a history there. But I've heard nothing but good things about Brew McCoy. What are your thoughts about Brew? Because everybody I talk to says he's a real stand-up, good to be around type of guy.
Yeah, right. Every time I've been around him, he's been very polite to me, very nice and everything. We haven't been around each other as much as probably normal though, because he's in the morning lift group after him with the offense. So we didn't really get to interact as much as most of the people on offense that I was around. But every time I've talked to him, every time I've been around him, he's a really good dude.
Back in the olden ages, Coop, you would say that a guy is taking in 5 or 6 junior college players or 8 to 10 or more because he's trying to save his job. Now, it's different now with the transfer portal. People can come right in and play. It doesn't mean you're trying to save your job. You're trying to make your team better. But I think the key is, how does a team absorb new faces into their community? How do you think you guys have been able to do that throughout the course of the offseason?
I think very well. So if you look at like our recruit, you know, they're not going to be problem people. Like they're going to come in and probably fit right in and just find out where their spot is on the team. They recruit pretty well as far as personalities. So it's not really hard at all. You just have to treat them like anybody.
Yeah, and I would think also the fact that everything is so optimistic at Tennessee right now probably helps them make the transition a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on that. It depends on the people themselves. You got to ask them personally, but you know, everybody's case is different. You know, it's hard to put a broad general paintbrush over all of it, but I don't know. I think Tennessee is a great place to come to if you're a transfer. As far as like looking at my brother, like he the way he came in and fit right in, I think it's just a good place to be. Personally, we think we got a lot of good people here.
No, I think you do too. Take me back to that decision-making process because I'm sure you're in on it. I mean, again, transfers used to be viewed as malcontents. They weren't happy at another place, but that's not the case anymore. Just as a family, how did you all discuss that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really we didn't like as much discuss it as a family. I mean, it was more on Cade where he wanted to be and everything. And I think Cade always, we're just a big family, big tight knit family. So I don't know. You just looked at things that kind of went down and just didn't really pan out the way he wanted to, and this was the next best spot for him for sure.
So, do you set goals for yourself within preseason camp or during preseason camp? I know you're very goal oriented. Most great players are. Do you set goals for yourself like week to week or the whole camp, or how do you handle that?
We have a good thing with our player personnel guys. They with us before every season in the off season or whenever they can, and they kind of pick your brain a little bit on where you want to develop more as a player or person, and like what are your goals for maybe the summer or whatever, like just so on and so forth. Just creating a dialogue between you and the player personnel people, and they kind of get it to fruition. So whatever goals you have, they are the best at kind of helping you with it. They'll put it on paper, laminate it, put it in your locker and everything. So I personally had like all SEC, SEC championship, and kind of maintain my weight. I think was my third one.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So you had mentioned the weight issue before. I mean, how challenging is that? Because you get so busy. I would imagine just taking in enough calories is the biggest challenge, right?
Yeah, it's not as much of an issue for me anymore. I think in this last year, I think I've been able to handle it on basically goal weight. So, it's not as hard for me anymore. But when I was younger, it was definitely hard. But the main thing is you got to sit down, you got to eat like the whole meal. Like I think a big thing what people do is they'll like start in on a meal and maybe get like halfway done with it or two-thirds of the way done with it, and then they'll like just stop eating it and they'll think like, oh, I ate a whole meal, but they really didn't. If you know what I'm saying, like you ate half of a meal, and then your next meal was a half of a meal, so you're really just at one meal amount of calories. So that's what I was bad about, at least.
You mentioned win the SEC outright, win the SEC championship. What would that mean to? I love the fact that you've been born and raised and grown up in this area. What do you think that would mean to Tennessee fans after they've been through heck and high water the past dozen years?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be huge personally if you look at. I mean, our fan base is second to none. So I mean, they've been clamoring for like a really big year for a while now. So I think the sooner we deliver it to them, I mean, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Personally, that's what I think.
What would it mean to you to be a part of a group? I mean, you got a couple of years left. We're not running out the door by any stretch of the imagination, but what would it mean to you, Coop, to be a part of a group that people look back at and said, "Hey, they turned it around"?
Yeah, I think it'll be like a really special experience. It's something that I wanted to experience kind of my whole time, like just being recruited and then going into college football. I think winning an SEC championship would be crazy. So I don't know. I don't know how it would be till I feel it. So check back with me soon.
Well, I'm telling you what, the last time you guys won an SEC championship, I petitioned hard. That Tennessee won a national championship for a parade, but I'm going to go ahead and Cooper, even if it's just me and you, we'll hold a parade down Gay Street. How's that sound?
There you go. Hey, I'm all in. I'll definitely put the info in on my socials, and we'll get some more people to come out with us.
Gotcha. We can do that. Okay, so along those lines, that leads me to an off the wall question. I'm going to start adding an off the wall question.
Okay.
So Bill Russell passed away over the weekend. He was one of the all-time greats, and I think personally he wasn't addressed enough when we talk about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. We talk about the new ones, relatively speaking, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, and then we could, maybe Giannis starts to get blah blah blah. But you're shaking your head. Okay, but we throw out a lot of names. We don't mention the name Bill Russell. So I'm not asking you to because you're a young man. I wasn't even alive when he played. But your thoughts? Who's the GOAT in NBA basketball? I'm not even sure if you're an NBA fan. I just figured I'd throw that out there because I do love Bill Russell.
I'm not an NBA fan, but I mean, I would have to go with LeBron. I mean, you can call me biased. Like I would completely understand, but if you look at, see, my point is like if you're looking at the greatest basketball player of all time, he can guard all five. He can make an impact if you put him in any position on offense as well. I mean, he's one of the most prolific like scorers and passers in the history of the game. So I mean, if you look at the most complete basketball player, the best basketball player all around of all time, and if you don't throw in like those statistics that you can't see, like the killer mentality and all the stuff that's like, you know what I'm saying, all the made up stuff that you can't judge, with numbers. I think you got to say it's LeBron personally.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another off the wall question. What was your favorite SEC player to watch growing up that didn't wear orange, that didn't play for Tennessee? Was there one out there that you enjoyed playing, an SEC player that you sat back and said, I enjoy him. Too bad he's not playing for Tennessee?
Mm, uh, probably really like any of the Alabama running backs from back in the day when I was growing up. You go through probably five of them sitting right here. I don't know which one to pick out. Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, like all of those, the big time running backs. Those, yeah, probably any of those people.
How fun is it to run or to block for a running back like that?
I mean, I love blocking for Jabari. That's my dude. Honestly,
Yeah.
he's one of my best friends for sure. So, I
Well, I didn't mean specifically those backs, but when a guy gets in a rhythm, how fun is it? Like Jabari is going to this fall. I mean, how fun is it when you get into that rhythm and you're exerting your will, so to speak?
yeah, no, it's honestly special. Like if you look at you know running backs like that have the ability to make people miss and have a good feel for the game like Jabari, it's a really good feeling to have him back there because he's always, even in protection and pass protection, like I'll regularly have like a play or two out of a drive where he'll come and help clean up whatever I'm blocking, and he's like, I got you, Coop. So just having somebody like that back there that is just a ride or die type dude, and where what kind of energy he's gonna bring, you can't compare to that.
We've talked a lot of weight room numbers. We haven't talked about Jabari, but I know Alex Golish, offensive coordinator, said in his media availability that he was like, he looks like an every down back, not just a third down back. Kind of giving him a hard time, but how much has he changed his body in this offseason? I'm hearing quite a bit.
Yeah, no doubt. You look at somebody with a great, the people that I've talked about this whole time while we've been doing the show, like people that come in with consistency and just a business like kind of approach to everything. He's one of those guys. Like he comes in with the right mentality every day, just ready to get better and ready to work. And I think a big focus for him this offseason was just bulking up and getting bigger and stronger to kind of just make sure he stays healthy this season. So I think he took the weight room extremely serious, and he's really strong. It's paid off,
Having
no doubt.
depth, yeah, having depth at that running back position. I know that it's always important. Lost one over the weekend to an upper body injury that wasn't specified, but just having depth because it's the SEC. How important is that?
No, yeah, it's hugely important. I mean, you can't just have a one deep at every position that's not ample in this league, because this is really a grown man's league, and it's very rare that somebody stays completely healthy the whole season if they're the guy. You know what I mean? So you got to have changes of pace, and you got to have different people in there to just kind of take the brunt of the blow sometimes, and maybe not in the O line, but wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, they can kind of rotate more.
You had to battle some injuries last year, Cooper. What did you learn about battling through those? There's always a fine balance between pushing oneself to continue to get better and pushing oneself too hard? How do you balance that when you're banged up?
Yeah, I mean, you know your limits as a human. I mean, it's just you got to know where your body is. I mean, you just got to do everything that you can. I mean, your coaches are smart. Your coaches they're here for you, to be healthy too. So, I mean, if you know your limits and your coaches are looking out for you and everything and paying attention, you'll be fine. We got good training staffs and everything in college football, so you should be okay.
That leads me to this. So they're not going to clear you unless you should be cleared physically. So how much of it, and I say this from some old man maladies, how much of it is mental to know that, hey, I am 100% now. I'm able to go. Is there a mental hurdle that you have to clear with injuries as well?
It just depends on the guy, probably. I don't know. I mean, if I don't know. I guess it just depends on the guy that's in question. Honestly, I've never really had a problem with playing through things ever since I was younger. So my dad kind of raised me that way. My dad and mom raised me not to quit at really anything. So if you got a little bit of gumption, then you'll probably take the matters into your own hands a little bit.
Yeah, one last question with Coop. 30 seconds from heating and air conditioning. City Heating and Air Conditioning is all about integrity.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
So, Coop, last thing, this offensive line getting better at pass protection. What is the key in this upcoming 2022 season?
I would say just discipline to your technique, and just being able to do the right things every down. I mean, it's definitely hard when you play in a high tempo offense like we do, but if you can have the discipline to keep your body in the right position and be where you're supposed to be at, then you'll be okay.
Yep. He is Cooper Mays, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to cityheatandair.com. It's about integrity. They will make sure that they take care of your unit for the best possible price. How about that? Best service, best price. Can't beat that. City Heating and Air Conditioning. Check them out. They bring you Cooper Mays. I'm Dave Hooker. This is a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.